Thinking about spending a few extra days in Barcelona before your cruise sails? It could be one of the best decisions you make, or the most overwhelming, depending on how you plan it. We spent 3 nights there before our cruise, and in this video we're going to give you the real deal. What to see, how much time you actually need, and a few things we really wish we knew before we arrived. Stick around to the end, we'll give you our full day-by-day breakdown, plus the one mistake most cruise passengers make in this city.
Welcome to Dockside Travel. We are Melanie and Kris. We have been cruising for more than 20 years, and we create cruise port guides, ship tours, and share real cruise insights to help you explore with confidence. If you enjoy videos like this, please hit subscribe, and don't forget to like and comment because it really helps YouTube share our content with more cruisers.
We're going to say something right up front because it affects every decision you make about this city. Barcelona is a destination on its own. It's not just where your Mediterranean cruise happens to leave from. If you're embarking or disembarking here, we'd really encourage you to add at least 2 full days, ideally 3 or more. We had 3 nights and we could have used a week. That's not us being dramatic. The architecture alone is worth an entire day. The Gothic Quarter, the food markets, the waterfront, it's just a lot there. If you only have 1 day in port, that's absolutely manageable, but you're going to have to make some choices. We'll build you a practical plan at the end so you'll know exactly what to do with whatever time you've got. If you're flying in, which most people doing a pre-cruise stay will be, the airport is about a 30-minute drive from the city center, depending on traffic. Budget an extra 30 minutes for customs and luggage on top of that, it's pretty standard. We used welcome pickups for our transfer. You book it online, they meet you inside the terminal, and your driver is already waiting when you come through arrivals. After a long international flight, that's a major win. No hunting for the taxi queue, no figuring out transit on dead legs. There's also Aerobus, a direct shuttle that runs every few minutes between the airport and Plaça Catalunya, right in the city center. It's significantly cheaper and perfectly solid option if you're comfortable with public transit after a long flight. We just prefer not to think that hard. Either way, get yourself sorted, drop your bags, and get outside. Barcelona does not reward staying in your room. We stayed in a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom Airbnb with private terrace right in the city center. And I'll be transparent, it genuinely changed my thinking. I'm a hotel person by default. I like the consistency. But for a group trip and a multi-stay night, this was the right call. We were traveling with 6 people, 3 couples, and having a kitchen, a big shared living space, and that terrace made all the difference. You can't replicate that in a hotel without booking multiple rooms and losing each other every time you want to sit down. Produce at the local markets is genuinely excellent. We grabbed things, cooked breakfast and dinners together, made sangria one evening in a pot because we didn't have a proper jug. It was one of those unplanned moments that ended up being a real highlight of the trip. That said, if you're traveling as a couple or solo, a well-located hotel works perfectly well. Just make sure you're somewhere central. Barcelona is a big, spread-out city. You want to be able to walk to things without burning your legs before you even board the ship. Here's the actual advice that will serve you well. Whatever day you land in Barcelona, don't book anything. We came from Newfoundland, St. John's to Toronto, a 3-hour flight, a 4-hour layover, then the long overnight flight to Barcelona. By the time we landed, we'd been traveling for close to 24 hours. We were done. That's exactly why you don't book anything on arrival day. We got to our Airbnb, check-in wasn't ready yet, so we dropped our bags and just walked. No itinerary, no schedule, just the city. We found some cafes, wandered the neighborhood, felt the city out, and then we turned the corner and there was a full neighborhood fiesta in the town square. Marching band, people in period costumes, a local spotted our faces and told us everybody's welcome. That ended up being one of our favorite moments from the entire trip. It only happened because we had nowhere to be. One more thing worth addressing, you may have seen some headlines about anti-tourism sentiments in parts of Spain. We spotted some graffiti on one wall near our neighborhood. And yes, that's a strange feeling when you've just come off an international flight and you're genuinely excited to be somewhere. But when we actually talked to people, the consistent message was that it's a small, vocal minority, that most residents understand how essential tourism is to the local economy. Our experience on the ground was warm and welcoming throughout. Don't let a headline talk you out of going. Parc Güell is Gaudi's open-air park on the hillside above the city. Mosaics, curved benches, sweeping views across Barcelona. It feels a little surreal when you're actually standing in it, like he built an entirely different world up there. And here's the part we learned the hard way. Do not walk the Park Güell. We tried. We followed the map. It took us 40 minutes, most of it uphill, and then the map sent us to the wrong entrance. We had to walk all the way back down, around the park, and up again on the correct side. By the time we actually got in, we had already put in thousands of steps and hadn't seen a single mosaic. Take a taxi, take an Uber. It costs very little and saves your legs for the actual park, which also has a fair number of steps. If you have mobility concerns or bad knees, the main guided tour route involves stairs, so check that in advance. Book your tickets ahead of time, and don't skip this step. We went through Via Tour, guided tour, skipped the line entry. Our guide was fantastic. She knew the park inside out, walked us through Gaudi's full vision, and made the whole experience make sense in a way that wandering on your own simply wouldn't. Worth every penny. Sagrada Família is one of those places you've seen 100 times in photos, and you still don't expect what it actually feels like to stand in front of it. It's massive. It's been under construction for over 140 years, and it is still not finished. And somehow that makes it more impressive, not less. Every single surface has detail on it. There's nothing else that looks like this building. The inside is where it really gets you. The stained glass, the columns, it genuinely feels like standing in a forest made of stone and light. I was not fully prepared how beautiful it was. Our guide Christina from Viator was outstanding here also. She walked us through the history, the symbolism, the different facades. The main entrance is the Nativity facade, colorful, incredibly ornate. The back is the Passion facade, stark, angular, dramatic. Same building, completely different emotional impact. A few practical things before you go. Book well in advance because this place sells out every single day. Tickets are time entry, so you'll need a slot. Inside shoulders need to be covered. Bring a shawl if you're wearing something sleeveless. No hats. Shorts and skirts are at knee length, and they enforce the dress code at the door, so don't find out the hard way. Photos and video are allowed inside, which was a pleasant surprise. Just put the phone down long enough to actually take it in. Quick pause here. If this guide is helping you plan your Barcelona visit, hit subscribe. We publish cruise port guide, ship tours, or vlog series every week right here on Dockside Travel. It helps YouTube share our content with more cruisers like you, and we'd love to have you along for the next one. We did the hop-on, hop-off bus on day 3, the day before we boarded the ship, and the honest answer is yes, it is absolutely worth it. For context, we'd already done Park Güell and Sagrada Família by this point in time. The bus wasn't the only way to see things, it was our way to cover the parts of the city we hadn't reached yet, and to finally understand how everything fits together. Barcelona is bigger than it looks on a map. We booked through Viator again. They have a reserve now, pay later option, which we took just in case our plan shifted. Mobile tickets, paper backup, walk from the Airbnb to the nearest stop. Very easy. There are 2 lines, the blue line and the red line. Start with the blue, it covers more of the key sites. The bus comes with headphones and narration in 16 languages, plus a paper map so you can follow along. If you just want to stay on and ride the full loop without hopping off, it takes about 2 hours. Transferring from the blue to the red is simple. Get off at a shared stop, cross the street, and get on the next one. Tickets were around $50 Canadian per person for a 24-hour pass. For a full day of guided transport and sightseeing across one of Europe's most visited cities, that checks a lot of the boxes. We got off at La Rambla for lunch. That's the oldest part of the city. Busy, touristy, vendors and restaurants and souvenir shops. It's a fun place to spend an hour and a great way to browse before heading back. The bus also passes right by the cruise port, which gave us a great preview of what we'd be boarding the next day. Seeing the ships in port made it feel very real. Barcelona is one of the busiest cruise ports in the Mediterranean. It handles a lot of ships and a lot of passenger traffic. If you're embarking here and you're coming from the city center with your luggage, keep this in mind. There are shuttle buses that run to the terminal. It's a long walk with bags, use the shuttle. Don't learn that lesson after you've already committed to the walk. If you're sailing with Virgin Voyages, they run a little late on embarkation day, which meant we still had Sunday morning free before we needed to board. That's worth factoring into your plan. You don't have to sit in a hotel lobby for hours waiting. You actually have usable time in the city. Drop your bags and take the free shuttle back to the old city. 3 days in any city just scratches the surface, but there are a few destinations close to Barcelona worth knowing about, especially if you've already covered the main sites or you're planning a return trip. Montserrat is one we most want to do next time. It's a mountain monastery about an hour from the city. You take a rack railway up the side of the mountain to get there. The views are completely different than anything you'll see in Barcelona, and the monastery has been there since the 9th century. Everyone who has done it says it's one of the best trips in all of Spain. It's on our list. If you're riding the hop-on, hop-off Blue Line, pay attention as you pass through L'Exemple neighborhood. That's where you'll see Casa Batlló and Casa Mila, two more Gaudi buildings right on the main boulevard. Worth a look from the bus, even if you don't hop off. If you do want to go inside either, book ahead of time. Same as Sagrada Família, they fill up. And Sitges, a small coastal town about 35 minutes from Barcelona by train, known for its beaches and its old town. It's an easy half-day escape if you want a break from the city energy before your cruise begins. If you're in a port for just one day, here's the honest version of what we do. Sagrada Família, no question. Book it before you leave home. Not the morning of, not when you arrive in the city. Do it now. Go when it opens. Spend 90 minutes to 2 hours inside. It will not disappoint. After that, get on the hop-on, hop-off bus for the afternoon. Self-guided, covers the main areas of the city. Get you to La Rambla for lunch without figuring out transit on your own. That is a complete port day. Park Güell's beautiful, and we'd choose it every time we have the hours to spare. But if it's one or the other on a single port day, go to Sagrada Família. It's the one that stays with you. If you have time left after that, just walk. The Gothic Quarter has completely different feel than the main avenues. Narrower, older, full of texture. Get a little lost. That's where the best stuff is. If you got 2 or 3 days, which we strongly recommend if your itinerary can accommodate it, here's roughly how we'd structure it. Day 1, arrive, drop your bags, walk. Don't book anything. Let the city show you what it is. Find a cafe, sit for a while. You need the reset after travel, and honestly, some of the best moments happen when you have nothing on the schedule. Day 2, Park Güell and Sagrada Família together through a guided tour. Book through Viator or a comparable operator. Take a taxi to Park Güell. Don't walk uphill for 40 minutes to the wrong entrance like we did. Your legs will thank you, and you'll have much more left for the actual park. Day 3, hop-on, hop-off bus for the full loop. Blue Line first, then transfer to Red. Get off at La Rambla for lunch, do some walking, grab a souvenir. If you're embarking on a cruise, that is the perfect day to swing to the port area so you know exactly where you're headed tomorrow. And if you can stretch it to 4 days, you're not going to run out of things to do. The Gothic Quarter, the beach neighborhoods, the food markets, Montserrat. We barely scratched the surface in 3 nights and genuinely wish we had more time. All right, before we wrap this one up, let's give Barcelona the Dockside Travel port ratings. And spoiler alert, this one's going to score very high. Starting with ease of travel and logistics, we're giving Barcelona a 4 out of 5. The airport is manageable, transfers into the city are straightforward, and once you're in the city center, you got plenty of options. Taxi, shuttle, the Aerobus, walking, and the hop-on, hop-off bus. The only reason it's not a full 5 is that Barcelona's a big, busy city and the cruise terminal area can be a bit spread out. If you're traveling with luggage, don't assume everything is walkable. Use the shuttle, use a taxi, and make life easier on yourself. For things to see and do, it's an easy 5 out of 5. Sagrada Família, Park Güell, the Gothic Quarter, La Rambla, Casa Batlló, Casa Mila, the waterfront, food markets, and day trips like Montserrat. This is one of those cities where you could stay for several days and still feel like you barely scratched the surface. This is not just a port stop. Barcelona is a destination city. If your cruise starts or ends here, build in the extra time if you possibly can. For walkability and independent exploring, we're giving it a 4 out of 5. Some areas are excellent for walking, especially the Gothic Quarter, La Rambla, and parts of the city center. You can have a fantastic day just wandering, stopping for food, and taking in the architecture. But, and this is important, Barcelona is bigger than people sometimes realize. Park Güell is uphill, some attractions are spread out, and if you try to walk everything, especially in warm weather or before boarding a cruise, you may wear yourself out faster than you expect. So our advice is walk the neighborhoods that are meant to be walked, but use taxis, tours, and the hop-on, hop-off bus to connect the bigger pieces. For food and atmosphere, we're going 5 out of 5. Cafes, markets, tapas, local produce, outdoor living, neighborhood squares, Barcelona has that European city energy where even a simple walk can turn into a great meal or an unexpected moment. Some of our favorite memories weren't the big ticket attractions, they were the little things. Walking the neighborhood, finding cafes, shopping at local markets, and just settling into the rhythm of the city. For cruise passenger value, we're giving Barcelona a 5 out of 5. Very few ports work this well as both a cruise embarkation city and a standalone destination. If you only have one day, you can still build a strong plan. If you have 2 or 3 days, it becomes one of the best pre-cruise or post-cruise stays in Europe. It also gives you that feeling that the vacation has started before you even board the ship, which we love. Now, one category where we do need to slow down a little is safety and security. We're giving Barcelona a 3 out of 5 here. Not because we felt unsafe, we didn't. Our experience was very positive. But Barcelona is very well known for pickpocketing, especially around major tourist landmarks. And this isn't just something we read online. We met people on our cruise who had been pickpocketed near a busy tourist area. They weren't careless travelers either. Pickpockets in Barcelona can work in groups, they can distract you, and they often target crowded places where people are focused on taking photos, checking maps, or watching street activity. So this is not a reason to avoid Barcelona, not even close. But it is a reason to be smart. Use a crossbody bag, keep your phone and wallet secured, don't keep valuables in your back pocket. Be extra careful around La Rambla, major landmarks, transit stops, and crowded entrances. And if something feels confusing, rushed, or oddly distracting, pause for a second. That is often when people get caught off guard. Awareness shouldn't make you nervous, it should make you more confident. So, overall, Barcelona gets a very strong 4.5 out of 5 from us. It is beautiful, historic, walkable in the right areas, full of incredible architecture, and absolutely worth extra time before or after your cruise. Just don't treat it like a sleepy little port town. Treat it like a major European city. Plan ahead, book the big attractions early, protect your valuables, and give yourself enough time to actually enjoy it. Whether you got 1 day in port or you're adding a few days before your cruise, Barcelona rewards every hour you put into it. Just come with a plan, even a loose one, and let the city take care of the rest. Let us know in the comments if you've been to Barcelona, what was your favorite port, or is it still on your bucket list? We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to check out our other cruise port guides and ship tours right here on Dockside Travel. You'll find everything you need for your next adventure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next port.